MMORPGs on mobiles are quite a bit often underrated, until you actually pay them. I mean, play them. Then you start to realize you're throwing a couple of hundreds of dollars every month just to watch your phone overheat. Today we're talking about the top 10 mobile MMORPGs that are so bad, they make you question your life and humanity itself. When we're talking about bad MMORPGs, some mobile games don't just fail, they really rule there. And planted firmly on that throne is V4, which is Nixon, the Korean developer's grand promise of a true MMO experience on mobile and PC. To make it as short and brief as possible, on paper, this was royalty. A massive world, high-end visuals, cross-platform play, basically enough systems to rival full PC MMO glory. In reality, however, V4 plays itself while you watch. Auto quests, auto combat, RNG gear, and always on PvP that's just basically paying for numbers where power matters more than skill by a huge difference. All things considered, the game looks impressive, sounds expensive even, and feels important, until you realize you're not playing a MMORPG, you're supervising one and occasionally paying to keep it alive. The game's a generous 1 out of 5. V4 is, let's say, the king of all the bad mobile MMORPGs. Moonlight Sculptor is like the court jester, cute, noisy, and doing absolutely nothing important. In fact, I think the game was removed out of the Play Store this week for ruining Google's reputation. It's actually based on a beloved Korean novel, and it tries to shrink a massive MMO fantasy into a chibi-sized theme park where everything just looks charming and plays itself. And guess what? Automation does the heavy lifting, in fact all the lifting to be precise. Progression's a nightmare, the story just simply begs you to skip it. I think Moonlight Sculptor is not an offensive game at all, I would say Moonlight Sculptor is not even offensive, it's just worse. Harmless game, hollow, and really forgettable. It's an MMO cosplay game for the fans and pretty much just a sleep aid for anyone else. With that being said, Lineage 2M doesn't get to just sit in today's list. It's basically actively charging us rent for standing next to other games in the list. So, this is a game where looking cool is mandatory, playing is optional, and suffering and frustration is a feature. High-level players are actively encouraged to hunt the newbies like endangered wildlife. And your only real freaking counterplay is uninstalling the game. You want to make a character? Cool, just wait for the correct server, the correct day, the correct hour, and 3 separate maintenance screens. Once inside though, it's just automatic everything. Auto move, auto kill, auto drain your battery and your wallet, and if you die, you lose everything unless you pay real money. It looks gorgeous, plays itself, and somehow still wastes your time. If this could have been legendary was a MMORPG, it'd have been definitely the game Aeon 2. And honestly, that's just what really makes this game heartbreaking. In fact, Aeon 2 is not some cheap autoplay clown fiesta. This is a real MMORPG trying to do its absolute best, while NCSoft, the developer, slowly sharpens the monetization knife right behind it. The character creator is honestly just god tier. The combat is thankfully mercifully manual, dungeons demand teamwork, and for just a brief moment, you think to yourself, wait, did they actually really do it? Well, then the shop opens. Unlimited instant revives, paid dungeon resets, time gates everywhere, suddenly realism meets revenue targets. Aeon 2 feels like the MMO we beg for, but chained to the business model we all fear. It's a beautiful game, deep and genuinely fun, which somehow makes the old pay-to-convenience shadow even more tragic. Why they do it. Number 5, it is Rebirth M, the famous adventure that was reincarnated as a pay-to-win. See, Rebirth M starts off like a pretty good old classic, quests, bosses, and PvP, all fun and games of course, until you realize that the whole adventure is optional, but paying is mandatory. That's not the only problem. The buttons are all tiny, targeting is just a mess, and auto-questing barely even works. If you want to survive PvP, you gotta either pay up or, get one-shot by overpowered players who really treat your character, human nature, like a dummy. Gear upgrades, really forget it unless your wallet's feeling way too heavy. Like, you're basically decorating your character with just more disappointments over time. Now, that being said, Rebirth M does not invite adventure, it just forces you to sit, stare, and just grind while the richer players steamroll everything. It is a game, of course, if your goal is to be frustrated. Number 6 on our list, Nerf 4. The one MMORPG right now that doubles as a crypto miner. In fact, Nerf 4 starts with some solid promise. Choose a class, smash, watch numbers go up, feel powerful. For about 5 minutes. Then autopilot comes in and takes over, and suddenly your questing turns into just tap occasionally while the game does everything for you. Combat, quests, loots, all automatic. Notifications, basically non-stop, and just when you think you're adventuring, the game drops a twist where you're now mining for crypto. Your warrior, your mage, your Taoist, or whatever is now moonlighting as a GPU. I would like to say that if Nerf 4 teaches anything, it's just why slay dragons when you can mine crypto instead. If you actually want to play a game, avoid Nerf 4. If you want your avatar becoming a mining rig instead, welcome aboard. At number 7, we're gonna blast off into the cold, cruel void of Eve Echoes, or as I like to call it, Better Not Die in Space Simulator. Imagine the grand cosmos of New Eden, filled with like trillions of stars, ships, ambitions, and now imagine you can barely pilot a starter ship without sinking 50 bucks, because apparently space survival requires more money than skill, obviously. So the game nails the look of EVE Online, as you can see. It's gorgeous, amazing, good-looking starfields, some massive ships, and that satisfying sense of flying somewhere important. But the auto combat and the auto navigation system quickly just turns you into a glorified space Uber, while the paywalls lurk behind every freaking warp gate. You want the good loot? You gotta pay. You want convenience? You gotta pay. You want to survive PvP and null space? You gotta pay. It's a mobile MMO that delivers a scale of EVE Online, but also existential dread or realizing the universe is just more expensive than fun. Now, on another hand, Perfect World Mobile is basically less MMORPG and more direct-to-bit simulator. 5 years later, and basically nothing's even changed about this game. If you're a free-to-play, congratulations, you've unlocked the spectator role basically the whole game. Drop rates in the game are almost microscopic, gearing takes like literal months, and the cultivation quests expect teammates that like no longer even exist. The story in this game is barely there, combat's basically the game, plays itself also while your phone overheats and your battery cries for mercy, and to make matters even worse, customer support is allergic to accountability. So overall, it's just a pretty game, of course, but once the autopath kicks in, Perfect World simply becomes a perfectly automated disappointment. Also, nostalgia fans from the PC era felt personally betrayed when the mobile port came out. Up at number 9 with the game Talion, which on surface it looks like a sort of a next-gen MMO would look like, and then immediately once you step in it kind of plays like a Temu textbook. You pick a faction that sounds great on paper, choose a gender-locked class because freedom's optional, and just dive into a demon invasion story that you've already forgotten by the end of the tutorial. And the game itself just really wants to play itself because, auto-questing, auto-combat, flash arrows, telling you to stop thinking all game. For some reason, the combat has combos and flair, but also some weird limits. Like rationed dodge rolls? Really? Visually it's pretty gorgeous, mechanically though safe to a fault. The game is packed with modes, PvP, raids and systems all depicted on autopilot. Talion is not an awful game though, it's just aggressively average, with zero promise. Guardians of Cloudia. Imagine a world where your pets are the real heroes, and the developers are also the villains. And you're not the hero, you don't even have a business being here. So, a MMORPG at heart, you summon hundreds of different pets, which are the real heroes, and none of them star up. which is classic. Your super build along the way gets nerfed overnight, while the cash shop quietly triples the price of anything that's working and it's useful. By the way, congratulations, just paid to be mediocre so far. The game doesn't play fair, it plays with you. It's like a mischievous child dangling candy that you're never gonna reach. If Cloudia had a motto, it'd be hope, despair, rinse, repeat. And just when you think it can't even get worse, your character randomly just runs off screen like it suddenly remembered it had life outside the game.
When darkness descends.
And World of Kings is what happens when a mobile MMO stares at World of Warcraft for just way too damn long and decides, yeah, I can do that on auto. So you pick a painfully familiar race, a suspiciously familiar class to go with, and are just immediately drowned in unvoiced lore that dares you to care, which you won't, of course. By level 15, you're just speed tapping dialogue like it's just a mobile ad. Combat only mostly plays itself, the UI screams with malfunction, and your character, for whatever reason, constantly sprints off to the next quest without even asking you. Credit where it's due though, the music slaps, the classes are deep, and the power fantasy in fact hits pretty hard. It's polished, it is packed, weirdly fun, but creatively, the king just lives in someone else's castle. Congratulations, you just survived the gauntlet of bad MMORPGs, cause here comes Magic Forest to slap you one last time. This Magic Forest Dragon Quest game doesn't let you play either. Instead, it plays you. Leveling is just absurdly fast. The quests finish themselves. Your choices are just window dressing for auto grind. For example, if you just want to explore the world, there's none. If you want to fight, the game will do it for you while you sip whatever. And pets, rewards, achievements are all irrelevant in this game, just noise. Login fails, tutorials nag, updates, rig progression, and every damn advancement screams pay us or just get out. Magic Forest doesn't end, it haunts you, is what kind of game it is. If the list had a villain, this game would sit on the throne wearing a crown made of broken screens. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope I haven't offended any mobile game developer. I really hope you enjoyed. If there's any other game so good deserves to be in the list, let me know about it down in the comments and I'll see you again tomorrow.